What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar with your boy. And we are looking at a pretty hefty loss right now. And I'll discuss that trade here in just a minute. I'm a little upset with myself. Just, you know, the market did what it did, right? But pretty nasty loss here late in the day. We'll discuss that here in a minute. But overall, not a bad day to say the least. But, definitely not happy with $1,900 being thrown out the window there. 380 points or 38 points if you're trading ES, but for me it was MES. So did exactly what I shouldn't do and normally I don't do, but for some freaking reason I thought it was an okay idea. And yeah, and I'll discuss it here in just a minute. But let's go over what happened today. And then we'll kind of discuss my trades along the way. Well, today I was pretty much, for the most part, it was textbook kind of choppy, small price action while we're in a balance within our daily, right? Our daily came back into balance yesterday. Today we continue to kind of just drift a little bit lower. One time frame down pretty much all day, then got the rally late into the afternoon. After getting slightly below our afternoon pullback low, getting to 67.50, which was these poor lows here, taking it out by 2 ticks and then bouncing pretty aggressively. But there really isn't a whole lot to discuss. I mean, we took out both sides of the initial balance. We got both overnights, and that's just going to happen whenever you have small ranges. And something I've been trying to be better about is getting involved whenever the market is in a balance versus not, because there are opportunities to take trades, but I definitely shouldn't have done what I did late in the day, and I'll discuss that here in a minute. One thing that I am upset about is I did take the long around 75 today and had my stop. Actually had an order to buy more around the 70 level. And then had my stop below these lows right here. Had my stop below 67.50. Okay. So I was long a 5-lot MES here, added at 70, and got stopped out by 2 fucking ticks. 2 fucking ticks. 2 ticks. 2 ticks stopped me out of the fucking trade. I'm very upset. I think that's kind of why I did what I did late in the day, more or less, is because that trade kind of upsets me a little bit, knowing that I had the right idea. Definitely maybe started too early, but you never know with what the market was going to do at the time. Whenever I did take the trade, we were holding the overnight low. We couldn't quite get the initial balance low, so I was like, maybe if we fade the edge here, and even the extreme, we'll rotate back up, get back up to the open. Because, we're in balance. The likelihood of that happening is pretty good. And there just really isn't much tempo to the downside. It's not like we're in a one-time framing down market. The weekly's healthy. The monthly's healthy. The only thing that is in balance is the daily, right? And we've just been kind of drifting lower since taking out what was it, Friday's low, right? So we've just been kind of drifting lower. So I took the long there thinking, all right, we'll maybe get a bounce, rotate up higher, and I'll take it off near the open. Well, that did happen, but I got stopped out before I could take anything on the profit side there. So I started off with a loss there. I didn't take any trades until late in the day. Took a trade against the opening. I was short 85. Okay, I took it on both accounts. I got short 85, 86, 87s, 88, kept adding, and managed to get out unscathed, even up $30 on the day on that account. But whenever we kind of just came back in really aggressively down to 81.75, but we kind of held that level, and I was looking for us to more or less pull back to point of control, which was 9 wide down here at 77.25, was looking for us to rotate back into that point of control, kind of, not expecting us to take out the initial balance high, this late in the day and probe, kind of like we did. But we did exactly that anyway. But I was not looking for that. So when we came in, I did take it off on the other account, but was not quick enough to switch to the other and get out. So when it pushed up, I just kind of felt like it was maybe a good opportunity to just kind of take the short, right, on the 1 minute chart. I got caught up looking at the fucking 1 minute chart. Kept seeing us, struggle around here, but we ended up just kind of riding this thing as it increased. That second standard deviation, just kind of let it ride on up, and we kind of just rode it the rest of the way. And every pullback was getting bought, so it never really gave me an opportunity to get out. I could have got out a couple of times for around break even. I think that might be why I'm more or less more upset with myself on that trade late in the day. Is because I kept adding to the position. I ended up getting up to about a 7 lot ES and then about 70 MES before the trade was over. I literally didn't close it out until the last 30 seconds of the day, which is pretty fucking stupid. And I did, and I don't normally take size like that, but I think two things were happening psychologically. Is I was trying to make my money back, and then I was hoping, instead of going with what the market was telling me, because we were one time framing up at that point, I was hoping that it would come back in, and then I was trying to get my money back, right, that I lost earlier in the day. And this is when you got to know yourself, and I could feel it. Like I could feel, like you have that feeling. Like I could feel that feeling of like, I know this, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, when you're like a kid and you went to go do something that you shouldn't do, you had that feeling that you shouldn't do it, and you would get busted, and you end up getting busted anyway. That's the feeling that I had here. I could feel it. I got to just be able to accept it, right? I got to be able to accept it, because if had I accepted it, I might have taken like a $400 loss instead of a $500 or a $1,900 loss. Maybe a $400 loss or a $500 loss instead of a $1,900 loss. Kind of lived to fight another day, and ended up not really doing that. So very, very upset with myself on that. Very upset with how I traded that. Normally, I don't get larger than a 20 lot of MES or a 2 lot ES. Never really get larger than that, especially when we're in a balance like this. I mean, I got to learn someday, right? Clearly, just shit price action to begin with. I mean, you go trend down, not really trend down technically, but you just kind of drift lower all morning. And then as soon as the afternoon comes, boom, we drift up higher. It's just crazy how this short-term market and short-term traders can move the market. And I'm still learning, right? I'm still very, very, very upset. I mean, like, look, let's look at this, right? Let's look at the 10-minute chart here. Not to, hurt myself even more, but I was wanting to get long in this area. I had that area marked. I talked about it in yesterday's video. How I would look to get long down here the first time, and then I ended up front running it, set my stop too tight, and got fucking stopped out. I mean, I guess I could be happy that I had to stop in, because we could have went trend down and continued to push lower into the lows, right? Definitely could have continued to do that, and I had my stop way down here, would have taken a much larger loss. So I guess got to take that with a grain of salt, getting stopped out by 2 ticks. But where I really, really messed up, because that trade isn't a terrible trade, right? And I could have got back in. That trade was not a terrible trade, and I really didn't even lose that much money on it, because my size was relatively small compared to what I did up here in the last 3 time frames, where I got short and just kept adding on every push up, hoping this thing would come back into point of control to get 10 wide. And I was thinking that was going to be more probable than the push up late in the day. And I've been kind of theorizing, just kind of throw some shit at you here. I've been kind of theorizing, whenever we do push up late in the day like this, how like we have our trend days down, like where we have single prints, and then we'll have our trend days up where we have single prints like that, right? You can see like the the gap, the intraday gaps, even though these are true single prints, right? Whenever we have just the one time frame that goes between those price points, I've been thinking of like a different version of a trend day, not necessarily a trend, by technical definition of these single prints, but in a different meaning of like short covering trend or long liquidation trend, where we kind of create a set of single prints, like right here, right? It's not necessarily a single print by definition, but it kind of acted as it, right? We pushed through here, right? Got back into the day's range, and we pulled back and never filled back into those areas, right? We never even got back to point of control. So that was kind of a telltale sign. And I mean, even if you look where that area is highlighted here on the 1 minute, you can see once we got back above VWAP and we pulled back, each time near that area where that single print, was located, ended up being an area to get long or to lean against late in the day, because pretty much what happened was all the sellers that were down here, they got trapped, right? All the sellers below the 144 and below that first standard deviation, they got trapped and got squeezed out. And that's really what caused this. And then alongside momentum buyers going into late in the day. So I probably would have been better off taking long instead of fading up here. And then had I been quicker, definitely could have taken the trade off, and even knew that I should have taken the trade off for even at least break even. And I don't know why I did that to myself. It's like, if you trade, you definitely know, right? And then if you've done anything of the sorts of just like stupid things that you shouldn't do, and you've done it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So just something that I continue to battle with myself. And moving forward, hopefully we'll do better. Come tomorrow, depending on what the price action looks like, I may not trade at all. And if I do, I'm definitely going to do no more than a 5 lot of MES. And it's going to be against very specific levels. I'm not going to do front running anymore. I'm not going to do any of that shit. I got to be more consistent than what this shit is. I don't trade these time frames. That's not consistent at all. I don't trade these time frames. And ended up paying the price because I decided to do that. So, yeah, let's go ahead and mark the days and look at this push up late in the day. And let's go ahead and mark the destinations. And then one thing I do want to note is how we did kind of push down here below that 67 level, right? And I said if we find acceptance above 67, we'll most likely rotate back up. We ended up doing that. But another interesting thing is seeing how the trend might be slowing down to the upside, as we've kind of just been ending up with overlapping the lower value and no real strong tempo down or tempo push down. And we couldn't even get into the buy tail here, right below 67. We couldn't even get into that buy tail on the push down after getting the initial balance low, getting the overnight low. We couldn't even get into that area, and then ended up creating a 9Y point of control right here at 77.25. Okay, so we created a 9Y point of control that will be moving forward. But because we did that, maybe because, I mean, look at where we were trading. Not only was this area around the previous all-time high, which was at 68, and then we had some consolidation here, right? We were creating a point of control here on that day. We went trend up around the 76 level, and then today we created 9Y point of control there. So could this be an area where sellers were getting out of their positions, right? Obviously, if you shorted on this day, sellers were getting out of their positions, and then you have maybe a couple of knife catchers stepping into this market. So people looking to get long, thinking they'll add to their position as we go lower, right? Deep pockets, they might do something of that nature. So we end up with a 9Y point of control, and looking forward to tomorrow. If we open above this 9Y point of control, We'll take out today's high for sure. Up here at 91.75. Then your next destination is going to be that afternoon rally high, and then the point of interest up here at 5,100. I think we'll most likely get that, and then we'll just kind of work our way back up. And anybody that is short will most likely get stopped out of their trades for sure. I'm very fucking upset with myself. I don't. Oh, me bitching, moaning, and groaning. And I guess you could technically say we probed today. We price probed above 88, but it really wasn't a large probe, and it didn't last long as we ended up closing right around that same level. So I'm not going to use a price probe above 88, but if we do open above 88 or even with a gap of any magnitude, this market could really start to move to the upside, get that 5,100 level, and so on and so forth. Yeah, let's mark these destinations real quick, and then we'll briefly look at the daily. Just brief. 25 is going to be our 9Y point control. Oh, we should probably put today's date. We have today's low down here at 67. We have our high up here at 91.75. So there you have it. So, oh, that's ugly. Let's get a reset there. So if we open above 77.25 tomorrow, we'll most likely trade up into the high of day, 91.75. If we take out that, I would lean against the afternoon rally high here at 94.75. I think I would look more at 99.75, but anywhere in that range between 94.75 and 99.75, we could definitely find some type of resistance in this 5-point range. If we get above 5,100, you will trade up into 5108, and then you have nothing stopping you until 5112.75 where the single prints fill, and then you will get into that upper distribution where you want to find acceptance and take out the balance high of 5123.50. However, on the downside, if we open above 77.25, can't take out the day's high, we could probably end up with a whole lot more chop. However, if we don't end up chopping and get below 77.25 and find acceptance below 77.25, we'll most likely go trade at 67, and then the balance low where the gap starts down here at 52.25 and push lower into that gap. But not really looking for that just yet, especially with creating a 9Y point of control down here. Sellers having every opportunity to really get the ball rolling to the downside, and they just could not get it going. So we shall live to see another day as buyers moving forward. And just briefly, let's look at the daily. Just briefly. Look at the daily within this balance. So I guess technically, ooh, I still have this ugly drawing on here. Hold on. I guess technically you could say we've got near a balance low. I'm not going to say that we got near a balance low. We got within 15 points of that balance low. So I wouldn't say we technically got near a balance low and held it. We could still go and test that. But we definitely tested an area or points of interest on the downside and held it so far, which is positive for the buyers. 20-day moving average continues to creep up, 5,008. It is way in the gap here. We do have this massive gap right here, right? 20-day moving average is within that gap. So if we do get any extension or push to the downside, get below 52.25, you'll have the 20-day moving average somewhere within that gap. However, I'm not looking for that. We'll see if we do get a little bit of a push back up, retest of the highs, and see if we do push push through it going into the end of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got. If you are trading out there, wear your hard hats, keep your stop in, keep your size small, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.